Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alana, and if you haven't subscribed to me already, make sure you give me a big thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Would really help me out a lot. But today's video is all about how to apply for your Canadian permanent residency. If you don't follow me already and you don't follow me on Instagram, I'll leave a link below. But I think about 3 weeks ago now, I posted a picture on Instagram that I finally got my Canadian permanent residency. So I was like, I don't even know how to explain the day that I got it. I was just like so excited, very relieved. Yeah, so I wanted to share with you guys my experience on how to do the application. This is solely going to be based on a common law application. And how I went about doing that. As a few of you would know if you watched some of my videos, my boyfriend David is Canadian. We've been together for 5 years now, so that was pretty much the avenue that I went down to get my permanent residency in Canada. It was the easiest option for me, considering that I had kind of traveled around Canada before. I hadn't been in a higher level position at that point in time long enough to be able to get points to apply. So there are a few ways that you can apply for a Canadian permanent residency. You can get sponsored through your job. You can apply by yourself. There is a couple of ways. There's a point system I'm aware of. There's a provincial nomination pool as well. There is the common law process, which is, well, common law spouse or family member application. So if like a family member, a spouse that you've been living with together for 12 months or more, married, anything like that, you can apply as well. There's probably more ways as well that you can go down that avenue, but the most one that I'm well, there's two that I'm aware of, which is the point system and provincial nomination, and then the common law one. But I went down the common law route. So I wanted to share with you guys my experience and how I did it. So let's get into it. The first, when did I start? Well, I knew when I came back to Canada in 2016 that I would be applying for a permanent residency. I only had my 2-year visa and I couldn't get it again. So David and I knew that we would be applying for permanent residency. It was just a kind of matter of how to go about it. So when we were in Ontario, I thought that I'd start having a look at how to apply for it. So you go onto the CIC website and it has all the information on there, and I'll go through that shortly in a moment. But yeah, so I started having a look and how much it was going to cost and what we would have to do. When we moved to Alberta, I was like, okay, well, now we're situated here, let's get the process rolling. And it was kind of difficult because I was trying to print out all of the paperwork, but my computer didn't and still doesn't have the correct Adobe for it. So you need Adobe 8 or higher to be able to download most of the forms online. For some reason I tried to download it, wouldn't let me. Anyway, long story short, I came across an immigration consultant in Banff, and I decided to use her. Now, as much as I'm very appreciative of her and all of the, how she got my permanent residency for me, she became quite frustrating, and it kind of, I feel like if I didn't, because I was working 2 jobs, Dave was working 2 jobs, if I made the time to do it, or if I had the time, I would have done it myself. And so that's why I wanted to make this video, to help people to be able to do it themselves. Because I feel like, yeah, it would save you a lot of money. Let's just say that. So anyway, I went through her, so she helped me out in a lot of sense of the paperwork and stuff like that. There's a few things that I didn't know that we needed, so that was really good in the sense of I was like, crap, we wouldn't have had that, so that would have probably helped our chances and stuff like that. But yeah, anyways, let's get into it. First step is that you want to go onto the CIC website, so the Canadian Immigration whatever website. I think once you go into the website, you should see a tab that says Immigration, and you want to go down to the tab that says Immigrate. That way you can check your eligibility and what kind of visa you should be applying for. So it'll ask you a bunch of questions when you go in to check your eligibility. And that will tailor to you and what kind of situation you're in. So for me, I obviously went down the spousal road, wanted to be in Canada permanently, that kind of stuff. So at the end of that questionnaire, it will tell you which visa you should be applying for, and then you can click continue. Once you click continue, it will then come up with a page for like your own checklist for that visa, and it has, I think, all the forms and guides, checklists and everything on that page. That's why you need Adobe, because most of them were all through that. So you can click on all the links and it'll pull up all of the documents of what you need, the kits that you need, guides, and the checklist. So the checklist I printed out and I already had that, so I knew kind of what stuff I needed to get together. That was really helpful, because then you also need stuff that's not in that section. So you also need supporting documents. For me, on the common law route, it was a lot of documents proving that David and I are in a relationship. So like not visas, leases, bills that we both are on, what else? Trips that we've taken together, just stuff like that, like everything that we've done together that has both of our names on it. I just provided everything. We also needed a minimum, I think it was like 20 photos of us, but it was with us and other people and family members. So it wasn't just pictures of the two of us, because that would have been so easy. I have so many of photos of those. But finding pictures of the two of us with friends and family proved to be a little bit difficult in the sense of the family aspect, because usually it'd be me taking a picture of Dave and his family or vice versa. So we were lucky enough we could scramble through some photos like that. But if you're just starting out in the process, my advice would be to get a lot of pictures like that, but you need a timeline from when you first started dating to present, essentially. So for me, I had lost a lot of photos from when I first came to Canada because my hard drive died. So it was going through a lot of people's Facebooks and stuff like that and finding pictures for the two of us. But anyways, you will need those as well. I just put mine in a Word document, and underneath had the caption of who was in that picture and then a little blurb of what we were doing in that picture. So you kind of need to have like a story timeline, essentially, of photos. Other documents that I would recommend you gather before sending everything, just so you have it, or even send it with the application, was one thing that I sent my police check. So as an Australian, you need to get an Australian police check. So I sent that with my application. I wasn't aware of that I needed to provide driving abstracts. So because I held a Queensland license in Australia, but I also lived in Victoria briefly, I needed to provide driving abstracts from both of those states. And Victoria, because I've never held a license there, you have to email them and it takes quite a while. So that was really frustrating me because I didn't know that I needed to provide those, and that came later in the process and it kind of held up my application. because then I had to get those documents and then send them back. So if you can get all those documents beforehand, I would definitely recommend to do that. So that way it's not like going back and forth between the government and you, and you don't have to do that much extra once the application is done, and it would very much speed up the process of the application. Cool. So what else? Sorry, I've got a list here that I'm going to read from. So what you would also need to make sure is that you do everything absolutely correct. I've had a friend who actually put hers in the same time as mine. Actually, a little bit beforehand, she put hers in, got sent back because her dad's dad's postal address or living address wasn't filled in. So then she had to send it back. So when she sent it back, it was around the same time as mine. And she still hasn't had much progress in her application. So just make sure that everything is correct. Spelling, everything needs to be read over 5 times at least. You just don't want them to send it back because it's just going to hold up the process. Yeah. So once you've gone through that checklist and stuff, you will then send away the application and then you pay the fee. So the government fee, I don't know why there's different options, but it's $1,040, which in my opinion is very, very cheap. In Australia, to do the same thing is about $10,000. So it was kind of a no-brainer, but the government fee is only It's only $1,040. And it's broken up into 2 parts on the website. I'm just going to have a look on what it says now. Down the bottom, pay your fees. So the sponsorship fee is $75. So that's for your spouse to sponsor you. And then the principal applicant processing fee is $475. Then you've got the permanent residency fee. So you can actually do one part before paying for the permanent residency fee, but you may as well pay for it all at once. So the permanent residency fee is like $490. So it really isn't that much when you break it down like that, and you could easily put money away aside while you're filling out all the paperwork to be able to pay for their fee. The company that we used also had its own fee, and between that, the medical, the courier fees, the passport photos you need to get, and everything else, it really, really adds up. So if you can do it yourself and you have enough time, I would definitely recommend doing it that way because it would save you a lot of money. Which is another thing, sorry, just thinking of passport photos, I would definitely recommend getting a whole bunch of those done at once. I had to constantly keep going to get passport photos for, I don't even know why they needed so many photos from me. Unfortunately, the last photo that I got, we went to the photo place and I was wearing a white t-shirt. And apparently you can't wear white t-shirts, and Dave didn't want to go all the way home, so he gave me his t-shirt. And it isn't the most flattering photo, so that's going to be fun on my permanent residency card because that was the last one. Anyways, so get a few of those because you'll have to keep sending them anyway, and you may as well just have them ready to go. So that's kind of how you get into the website and what you need to do. I'm going to switch over to the other screen now, and I'm going to show you what it kind of looks like on the website and kind of step you through that now. Okay, so this is kind of what we are looking at here. I might just go back onto Google. Okay, so this is kind of what we're looking at here. So you want to go into CIC, and it should just be the Immigration and Citizenship Canada. So then it will come up with this. So then you want to go onto this immigration tab here. You want to go down to immigrate, and then you want to find out how you can apply. This is probably the easiest way. It will have all the knowledge as to which option you should go for, and then you want to click on check your eligibility. So then this is the kind of questionnaire that you want to go down to. I'm just going to quickly fill this in with what I did. So I want to go move there permanently. I am from Australia. Oops. And then I'm currently living in Canada still. So if you're applying from outside of Canada, you want to put the country where you're applying from. And then, do you have a family member who is Canadian citizen or a permanent resident and 18 years older? Yes, I do, because that's technically what Dave is. Then you need to put your date of birth. Do. 24. And then it will ask you why you want to come to Canada. For common law, you want to put that you want to join your family in Canada. If you're coming to work, I'm guessing you'd find a permanent job in Canada. If you're wanting to open up a business, or if you want to work for yourself. But I'm guessing most people probably put that option in there. How are you related to your family member? So if it's like an uncle, brother, sister, parent, or distant relative, you'd put something else. If you're married, it'd be a married spouse. For me, it's a common law spouse who have lived together. Next, where does your family member live? We live in Alberta. Oops, does that now? Oh, now it's thinking. What is your marital status? We are common law. And then we live in Alberta. Oh, that's the destination, sorry, of the province you're going to. And then, did you get married or become common law relationship before your 22nd birthday? Yes, we did. Okay, so then it will come up that you should apply for the family class, so spouse or common law in Canada. Press continue, and this is the checklist with all of the forms and kits and stuff that you will need. So first it says, read the basic guide carefully. The guide can be found at this address, and that's pretty much what you would bring up. It has all the links and forms that you need to fill out. And then the checklist, I don't know if this is going to work because my computer doesn't have proper Adobe. So this is the basic guide. It has all the steps on how to apply. So everything you need before you start, all the meanings of everything of being a sponsor, but those living in Quebec, because that's slightly a bit different for some reason. And then how to get started. So your checklist will tell you the forms that you need to have, and all of the supporting documents that you'll need as well. And then you'll just need to fill out all of the forms and then gather all your documents, which pretty much means anything else like the common law document, all of the supporting documentation that you have to say, like prove that you're common law or together, all that kind of stuff. Certain countries may need an English test as well, or translations to English or French if you don't speak English as your first language. Then it just says how to go through your police certificates, and then check your application to avoid mistakes. So definitely check that. Even get other people to check might help as well. Then you just like proof of identity, all that kind of stuff. The barcode page says how to deal with that and like signatures and whatnot. And then it has the fees here. So you pay the fees electronically, which is super handy.
So this is the fees that I was talking about for the sponsor one. It's only $1,040, super cheap, totally worth it because you get 5 years out of it. And then you submit your application package. So it pretty much tells you step by step everything you need to go through. But if you do have any questions, you can let me know because I've still got everything that we needed to go through. Then it goes through how you like your medical exam, all of that kind of stuff. Photos, all of that. Yeah. This one is probably the most helpful page out of all of it. So that's your guide. That will tell you everything you need to do. Then there was a checklist, but I think this is it. It's not, I don't think it's going to work on my computer. I printed it out from work because they haven't updated Adobe. So unfortunately I don't think I have a saved document of that. But yeah, so that's where you get the checklist. It'll have everything you need to go. This is pretty much everything. And then you just gather all your documents, put everything together, pay your fees, and then submit your application package. And that's pretty much it. If you do have any questions about this page, definitely comment below. Let me know if you have anything. I can probably try going onto David's computer to see if he has the updated Adobe, but yeah, definitely let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, so you've gone through that checklist and done all that. You've sent your application away. What do you do next? And that is such a good question because I had no idea what the next steps were and how they processed it from there. So pretty much what happens is you send your application off to Ottawa, and then they just start processing whenever they start processing. So we sent ours off like just before Christmas. So it probably wasn't the best time because obviously you've got a bunch of holidays in between there. The offices shut because it's government. And then they probably have a backlog. So it wasn't until about the 14th of February they actually started processing David's application, which wasn't too bad actually. So the whole process from when they started processing it was February, and then I got accepted in May. So March, April, May. So about 3 months, give or take. So all up, I think by the time we sent our application to when like everything came through would have been 6 months. But yeah, so after that you send your application away, and then you kind of just wait until they start processing it. And then what happens is, what I found was really helpful is that you can use your application ID or customer identification number to look up online. So you get like you can create I don't know what it's called, like a login, I guess, and you can see where they're at with your application. So it was pretty cool because then I could see when Dave got accepted as a sponsor and like when they accepted, like when they got all my paperwork and like other stuff like that. But after that, then you then get asked to go for a medical. Now the medical consists of 3 different components. You need to book in for a doctor's appointment, and then I don't know how this works, but you need to go to the doctor's appointment, you get a chest x-ray, and you also get blood work. So for me, I booked a whole day in Calgary, and I did the doctor's appointment. Was about 10 a.m. I was there until about 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then I booked my blood test for 2. So, and it all lined up like perfectly with the waiting times and everything. So the doctor's appointment, you get a list of who is like accredited to be able to do those kind of tests. And what I did was I went in for my appointment, I filled out the paperwork, I did a urine sample, they measured my height, did my weight, blood pressure, and that kind of stuff. And then I went off to do my chest x-ray. That was all in the same building for me, so that was really helpful. Meanwhile, Dave was at the movies, so that was really fun. And then it was all kind of within walking distance. I picked it all around the Chinook Centre, so if you're in Calgary or Banff, Canmore area, it's probably the best to be able to get it like around if you don't have a car. But then I just walked to the place to get my blood test. So yeah, you do those 3 components. Then, so the doctors have all your paperwork. The radiologists send your stuff to them, and so do the people with the blood tests. And then the doctors, if there's nothing wrong with you, essentially, so if you don't have like HIV, tuberculosis, or anything like that, then they send your paperwork off to the government. So they only contact you if there's something wrong or abnormal about your exam. So you won't really hear about that. And it was really helpful with the online login, because then I could see when they accepted it. I didn't hear back from them, so that I went and did that in March. So it was like a month maybe when they got back to me, from when they started processing the application to when they asked for the medical. And then I did hear back from them in April, and I had to send them my driver's abstract, which is why I think you should do it beforehand, because that took a little bit of time. And then I'm trying to think even if I heard back from them regarding anything else. I don't think so. And then I think by that point, they had already got all my information and everything like that. Then they sent me a letter, essentially. When I logged in, it said under my name, so under Dave's name, it had decision made, which meant that they've made a decision on his part of the application. And then for mine, it had for the longest time that it was just like application received, so that meant that they were just processing it. Then when I got this letter, I went in and had a look, and it had decision made under mine, which pretty much meant that I had been accepted, but I just had to send them this paperwork, and that I had to attach a photo for as well. So that was pretty much the process. It wasn't too bad. I might try and log in to show you guys what it kind of looks like. 1 second.
Okay, so to create your account online, you'll need your ID number once you submit everything. But to go in, I think it's just through my application. So usually you would go sign in and create account. For me now, because I already have one, I go in to check your application status. But I'll go into here for you guys just to show you. So what I did is I think I did the GC key one, because I didn't want to log through a sign-in partner. It was weird to me. So you just go continue to GC key. It's similar to when you apply for your IEC one. So you might already have one of those. Honestly, I'm gonna see if this works. I don't know what mine actually is. Sorry for my hand reaching over here. Whoops. Let's see if this works. I don't know what my password will be, but we shall see. I don't know if this will work though. Nah. Okay. I can't remember what my login details actually are, so make sure you write those down or keep them somewhere handy. I'm going to go back to check my status. So you can also do it this way once you've already got all your details. Family sponsorship. So continue, it just tells you what it is. You can create an account. You can check the processing times as well here. So at the moment, I think they're about 12 months. So it can take up to 12 months. Sponsoring a family member, spouse or common law living inside Canada. And then I applied after December. So then it just tells you that it can take up to 12 months. For here, you can also go application status online. Brings up this little screen here. And then you just want to click that, click continue. And then for some reason, my client ID number doesn't work. So I go by my application number. If you want to paste that, I just copied mine, so I just paste it in there. And then these details, I first tried to search by mine, but I have to use David's. Place of birth, Canada. Sorry for my hands again. And then it'll bring up your application status here. So from here you can change your address if you move, which is super handy, we did that. And then it'll have this section here. So sponsored person is me. Then the sponsorship application status, that's David's section. So usually it just has application received, I think it was. But if you click into that link, it has that we received your application to sponsor me on December 27th, 2017. We started processing your application on February 14th, 2018. So that's all that's in David's stuff. I think it was super easy because he's Canadian, so they pretty much approved him straight away. But if you click onto this, no, it's not that part. So I'll go back. And if you click onto mine, it has a bit more information here of the process of how they did it. But I'm gonna click into here for a second. So it has, if it's in process, so it just means that application has been received by CIC. They're verifying the documents and then you get asked for the medical and they're waiting for that. This just means, like if you have withdrawn, then that you've withdrawn your application and then decision made. So that means that an interview may be required or that you've been approved for permanent residency. And then once it completes, your application arrives in Canada and is granted permanent residency. So that it will change to complete once you swap it over at the border. But I'm going to go through these points here. So as I showed you before, they started Dave's permanent residency on February 14th, like that, because he's my sponsor. So they started processing it then. Then they received my application, they received it on December 27th and they started processing it May 16th. So it didn't take very long for them to accept me from when they technically started processing it, but that came up like, it says 0.2, but that came up like after all of this stuff. So then it just says that they sent me correspondence on this day. I can't actually remember what that was. Oh, they sent me correspondence saying that they had approved Dave as a sponsor. Then it says that they've received my medical documents. And then they also sent me correspondence on April 3rd. So that was for my driving abstracts. And yeah, so that's pretty much it of what they send you. So you can kind of see you can keep updated on your status and stuff like that, which is super cool. So usually they'll send everything by email when they want you to respond back.
Okay, so once you go through all of that process and everything, then they send you letter, like your documents in the mail of how to, so like, congratulations, you got your permanent residency, and then it says how to change over to your permanent residency visa. For me, I am going to Australia next month, so I can't change it over just yet, because once you change it over, you can't travel until you get your permanent residency card. So I'm going to have to do a border run, but they send you like a document sort of like this. It says not valid for travel. You have your picture. So this is the one that I give like the immigration people. It just has like all my details on there, my application details. I never read this, but it also has like your medical details, that I haven't been convicted of a crime. What else does it have? Dave's sponsor information. And then if you have dependents, it will have the dependents on there as well. So once you get the confirmation that you've been accepted for permanent residency, congratulations for number one. But once you get accepted, you need to take these documents along with your passport, any other supporting documents that they require, and you need to then exit Canada and then come back to switch it over. So I was thinking that the easiest way would be we're leaving for Australia next month and we can change it over when we come back via Vancouver. However, we're only going to be in Vancouver transiting for 2 hours, and that's just not going to be enough between going through customs and then having to change this over, and I don't want to add that extra stress on to miss our flight to Calgary. So what we're going to do is do a US border run, and people usually say like a flagpole run. So we're going to drive down to the US border, flagpole it, and then change it over. So you can do that option as well. So you either have to, like, some countries obviously wouldn't, like if you're from like a specific country where it's not easy enough to get a US like ESTA visa just to like go through and then come back, you would have to exit, I'm guessing, via air. I mean, it's kind of a good excuse if you want to go back home and then come back, stuff like that. So you would have to do that to then change it over, or you can book an appointment Monday to Friday at an immigration office nearest to you, and have a interview with an immigration officer. Unfortunately, I work Monday to Friday now and I only get the weekends off. They're obviously closed on the weekends, so that's just not ideal for me, and it's kind of a good excuse if we want to go traveling down to the US. So I'm going to do a border run, but you can also book a interview as well if you like. I don't think that it's a hard process, to be honest, and like I didn't want to go in depth too much with this video because I kind of want to see what people's feedback is and what kind of questions you guys have. The best advice that I could give you would just be to make sure that you're very thorough and check everything. The process isn't too hard, and I'm definitely happy to help anyone. Like, you're more than welcome to contact me. That's kind of why I started this whole channel, because I wanted to help people, and I'm so glad that I can share my experiences and actually help people with these kind of situations. But the process is kind of just like the anticipation and waiting is kind of the most annoying part. Obviously it's a government thing, so like they take their time, and I guess they want to also make sure that like people legitimately come in like and want to stay in the country for these kind of reasons. So yeah, but I don't know what else to say. I hope you got something out of this video. I hope it helped at least one person out there. If you do have any questions though, comment below or contact me on social media somehow. I'm more than happy to help you with any questions you have. It is one of those things where it does take a lot of commitment to be able to do this process. So yeah, I have a lot more time now because I don't have 2 jobs anymore, so to speak. So I'm definitely happy to help anyone who wants to go through this process and needs a little bit of help. Definitely happy to help. But I think the one thing you'll definitely just need to make sure is that Adobe thing, so you can download those documents or find a computer that does, because that was the biggest thing for me. If you are going through the common law process, then I definitely recommend you download the common law app, like common law, like officially become common law. There is a document that you can download, and then you need to get it signed or stamped or whatever by a lawyer or whoever, like a notary person or whatever they call it in Canada. If you're Australian, it's pretty much like you get it signed by a GP or a lawyer. We did that, so now we're officially common law, and I think that definitely helped us a lot. But yeah, I'm going to leave the video here because I don't want it to go for too long. So if you guys have any specific questions and you want me to do another video, I'm more than happy to do so. And I hope the kind of going through the computer kind of helped as well. I've never really done that before. So if you have any questions, queries, concerns, or anything like that, please comment below and make sure you subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks. Bye.